everyone joining us here today and via live stream, welcome to Palmdale, home of the legendary Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. I'm Eric Fox with Lockheed Martin Aeronautics, and I'm proud to be your MC as we unveil the newest experimental aircraft we have been developing for NASA. We're pleased to have with us today distinguished guests, Pam Melroy, NASA Deputy Administrator, Jim Free, NASA Associate Administrator. Don't be afraid to stand up and do a little queen wave. It's okay. We're all pulling for us. Dee Dee Myers, representing Governor Gavin Newsom. Palmdale Mayor Austin Bishop. State Assemblyman Tom Lackey. And representing State Senator Scott Wilk, Jack Danielson. And finally, Greg Ulmer, Executive Vice President, Lockheed Martin Aeronautics. And many other government, Lockheed, and NASA guests. For 80 years, the Skunk Works team has innovated to develop state-of-the-art capabilities in aircraft. It is an honor to be here with you today to witness a new chapter of this history as we celebrate the rollout of the X-59, a truly unique and revolutionary aircraft, which is just behind this curtain. I know you all want to see it, and we'll get to see it, but there are a few people who are eager to meet you first. At this time, I'd like to welcome our host, Vice President and General Manager of Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, John Clark.
Thanks, Eric. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the rollout ceremony for the X-59, a one-of-a-kind supersonic X-plane designed and built right here in Palmdale, California. It's rare that we have the opportunity to host this many visitors at the Skunk Works, and it's even more rare that we're able to publicly unveil one of our aircraft. Today we are witnessing history as we roll out the X-59, a unique experimental aircraft designed to quiet the supersonic boom. I want to emphasize the significance of this project and the genuine passion that drives our team at Skunk Works. Skunk Works has been a home of mine for nearly the entirety of my career. I consider myself extremely fortunate to work in an environment that fosters innovation and relentlessly pushes the boundaries of aerospace technology. The X-59 has the potential to shape the supersonic travel over land, cutting flight times in half of what they are today. But the X-59 is not just about cutting-edge advancements. It represents the best of our collective team and our unwavering commitment to make a positive difference in the world. I'm truly honored to be a part of this incredible journey surrounded by the best and the brightest of our industry. We're thrilled to take on this challenge alongside our suppliers and NASA, who has been a great partner along the way, whose quiet supersonic mission has the potential to transform commercial travel for the future. Across both teams, talented, dedicated, and passionate scientists, engineers, and production artisans have collaborated to develop and produce this aircraft. This project is just one of an example of the broader ingenuity of our team as we continually strive to push the envelope of what's possible. I'm thrilled that you're all here today as we unveil the X-59 and celebrate this very significant program milestone. Thank you.
An aircraft like this does not come together overnight. It takes years of collaboration with a dedicated team, a team willing to overcome unprecedented challenges and challenges that require leadership with vision. It is my pleasure to introduce Executive Vice President of Lockheed Martin Aeronautics, Greg Ulmer.
Thanks, Eric. Deputy Administrator Melroy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone with us today via live stream around the world, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here today at our renowned Lockheed Martin Skunk Works facility to celebrate the X-59, an experimental technology demonstrator that has the potential to completely revolutionize aviation. Put simply, today we are all witnessing a defining moment in aviation history. And the Skunk Works mantra of quick, quiet and quality takes on a whole new meaning as we usher in the hopes of a new era of quiet, supersonic travel made possible through our collaboration with NASA. Lockheed Martin and NASA have partnered since the agency's founding in 1958, pushing the boundaries of scientific technical limits to explore the unknown and advance both civil aviation priorities as well as those in support of our national defense. Together, we've collaborated to support all 22 NASA missions to Mars. We've developed X-planes together, and we've accomplished many aviation firsts together. And we developed those developments have had widespread impact for both our nation and the world at large. And today we celebrate another breakthrough as we roll out the X-59, an X-plane that will shape the next era of supersonic flight. Over the last decade, our teams at both NASA and Lockheed Martin, as well as with our suppliers, have been working diligently to mature the technology necessary to get to this moment in time. I am continuously impressed by the team and the innovation design and advanced digital engineering techniques that went into the development of the X-59. The team used advanced manufacturing techniques such as augmented reality, robotic drilling, and 3D modeling work instructions to help condense aircraft assembly times. We all know that designing and producing a one-of-a-kind aircraft is never an easy feat, and the X-59 is certainly no exception. The entire X-59 team leaned into the expertise of both legendary organizations, NASA and Lockheed Martin, to ensure success for this program. And I am extremely proud and humbled of the entire team to make this historic moment possible. With the first flight on the horizon, I know there is much more work to do, but I hope everyone in this room, everyone who put all their elements together to be a part of the success of the X-59, that we pause and take a moment to reflect on all the work that has been accomplished in this important milestone as we're here today to celebrate. This is a moment future generations will look back upon with both awe and admiration. On behalf of the Lockheed Martin Aeronautics team, we are extremely proud to support NASA in making flight quieter in the Quest mission. Congratulations to our NASA teammates, to Lockheed Martin, our talented and dedicated suppliers, for your commitment to delivering the X-plane that will truly revolutionize supersonic flight, and proving once again that with a mighty, joint, committed team, anything and everything is possible. Thank you.
it's absolutely inspiring to see how the X-59 team worked together and how much it means to each person who worked on this airplane. Please join me in welcoming NASA's Associate Administrator for the Aeronautics Research Mission Directorate, Bob Pierce.
Thank you. It's great to see everybody today, this afternoon, as we celebrate this really momentous occasion. And I admit it's a challenge to take our focus off what we're about to see, the X-59, the centerpiece of our Quest mission to explore quiet supersonic flight over land. But just for the next few minutes, allow me to expand your focus to a journey of scientific and technical discovery that got us to where we are today. This journey actually began in 1947, when the era of supersonic flight started right here in the California high desert with test pilot Chuck Yeager and the X-1. It soon became apparent that the sonic boom, a sharp, thunderous sound heard when an aircraft flies overhead at supersonic speed, was going to be a problem. When the Concorde started to fly in the 1960s, ushering in supersonic passenger flight, concerns about the boom remained. And in 1973, commercial supersonic flight over land was banned by enforcing a speed limit. But we continued to study the science of supersonic sound, gaining key knowledge about how sonic booms affect people and how to reduce their volume. The new century brought a boom breakthrough. Innovative ideas, advanced simulation, ground and flight testing showed us it was possible to design an aircraft that would produce a soft thump instead of a sonic boom. Is the thump quiet enough to allow supersonic flight over land? Our laboratory studies would say yes, but the real answer can only be found by engaging the people who would hear it during daily life, and that's the job of the X-59. After a test phase, the Quest mission will fly over the X-59 over U.S. communities, collect data from the people below, determine if that sonic thump is acceptable, and then turn the data over to U.S. and international regulatory authorities in hopes to then lift that ban. But look, to be acceptable, supersonic flight must also be sustainable. Takeoff and landing airport noise shouldn't be louder than regular subsonic aircraft. High-altitude emissions should have minimal or no long-term impact at the higher supersonic cruise altitudes. Efficiencies while in cruise mode must be significantly increased, and sustainable aviation fuels will reduce emissions further. At NASA, we're pursuing the key knowledge required for sustainable air travel at any speed. In closing, what we're about to see represents a nearly 100-foot-long step forward in the journey of discovery that began decades ago, a step toward opening the door to sustainable commercial supersonic flight over land. And while I have a few seconds, I just wanted to thank the NASA and Lockheed teams. I've had the pleasure and the privilege of watching them work, of visiting them, talking with them, and working with them. And that video you saw, the dedication you see, the excitement you see, the passion you see, the expertise, that's what this is all about. It's about the people behind the mission. That's what this is about. And I couldn't be prouder. And our two project managers sitting side by side, NASA and Lockheed, Kathy Baum and Dave Richardson, they work so closely together. They make this happen in their teams. And the teams that surround this are just, I can't thank you enough. So with that, thank you all for being here today.
All right, we're getting closer. Who all is excited to see an X-59? Yeah, I'll give you a B- on that. Y'all are 150 people in the world that are here live. How many people are excited to see the X-59? That's what I'm talking about. I now have the honor of inviting to the stage NASA's Deputy Administrator, Pam Melroy.
Thank you so much, Eric. It is just awesome, ladies and gentlemen, and our distinguished guests, to be here in the vibrant beating heart of what I consider the flight research and flight test capital of the world. Here in the Antelope Valley, I spent my time as an Air Force test pilot at Edwards, and it was like going to an air show every day. Absolutely amazing. What better place could we be for this magic moment? I also want to welcome the aviation enthusiasts, not just those of us in the room, but literally thousands around the world who are joining us remotely from over 20 countries and over 6 continents. So you are also very welcome, and we're very happy to have you with us. Today marks a historic milestone for us as we unveil the X-59. This is really another jewel in the crown, not just of Aerospace Valley, but also a very rich history of NASA aeronautics. The first A in NASA stands for aeronautics, and we're all about groundbreaking aerospace innovation. The X-59 proudly continues this legacy, representing the forefront of technology driving aviation forward. The X-59 transcends its role, as all X-planes do, as a simple aircraft. An X-plane is a symbol of our collective ambition to redefine the future. And in this case, it's the future of supersonic travel. As we unveil this technological marvel, it's really important to understand the profound impact the X-59 holds for the aviation industry. Designed as a jet capable of breaking the sound barrier, the X-59, of course, distinguishes itself, as you have heard, with its revolutionary quiet supersonic technology, enabling it to actually transition and be used. Today, supersonic flight brings a thunderous sonic boom. Those of us who live in the area are familiar with the sound. But what that means is that's restricted across populated areas with good reason. And the X-59 is going to break that barrier. Meticulously engineered, it produces a gentle bump, a mere whisper compared to the disruptive booms of the past. So this breakthrough really redefines the feasibility of commercial supersonic travel over land. It brings us closer to a future that we can all understand, cutting flight time from New York to Los Angeles in half. As we unveil the X-59, let's celebrate the aircraft, let's celebrate the team, let's celebrate the spirit of innovation and the human ingenuity that it is embodied in this aircraft. It symbolizes our collective ability to push boundaries, to overcome challenges, to dream as humans beyond the present, and shape a future that promises progress for everyone. So embark with us on this journey into the future of aviation. The X-59 awaits. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to see NASA's newest X-plane? Great. Me too. Well, then let's see it. I'm sorry, you can keep looking at it, but I got a few more things to say. Behold, our stunning X-59. What a unique aircraft, and it's just incredible to see the ingenuity that went into it. As a test pilot, the first time I looked at the design, I went, huh. Really had some questions about that. Lots of great time with the scientists and engineers at NASA, Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and all our other industry partners. And I was ready to go. In fact, I'm ready to climb in, but I won't do that, Nils, I promise. I think it's really also important to take a moment and talk about the challenges of sonic booms accompanying supersonic flight. We've talked a little bit about it, but this specialized aircraft is tackling it by engineering a specialized aircraft shape. what's most obvious right away is the long, distinct nose, which comprise almost a third of that 99.7-foot length. So this design is really critical in dispersing shock waves, which today, shocks are formed around the aircraft and then they merge together to give that boom. By designing it to disperse those, they never merge together. And that's how they solved this problem, which is really incredible. And then to further enhance its quiet supersonic capabilities, you can see that cockpit is positioned almost halfway down the length of the aircraft. And as has already been brought out, the forward-facing window was getting in the way of keeping the aircraft quiet. And so that's why it has no forward-facing window. It was a deliberate engineering decision from the X-59 team to make this aircraft quieter. But what's really interesting about that is we made that decision to make it quieter, but it's actually an important step forward in and of itself in advancing aviation technology while prioritizing the comfort of those on the ground. And huge challenge, right? Limited visibility in the cockpit. The team developed the external vision system, which is really a marvel of high-resolution cameras feeding an ultra-high-resolution monitor. Beyond its immediate applications for the X-59, the external vision system has the potential to influence future aircraft designs where the absence of that forward-facing window may prove advantageous for engineering reasons, as it did for us. So it's creating capabilities we haven't felt comfortable about putting in a crewed flight vehicle without first testing it. So this groundbreaking technology is really a beacon guiding us towards a future where visibility barriers in aircraft design can be overcome with this inventive solution. But the X-59's innovation doesn't end there. We also designed special features into the airplane, such as its top-mounted engine with a deck under the nozzle, which ensures that the shock waves don't merge behind the aircraft and create that disruptive shock below. This isn't just an airplane. This is an X-plane. It's a manifestation of a collaborative genius. And as Bob Pierce noted earlier, the culmination of decades of scientific exploration around the sonic boom. I'm really personally thrilled about this engineering marvel taking flight. And as we embark on this journey, let's celebrate the X-59 as a symbol of progress and a herald of quieter supersonic travel, which will bring us closer together as humans faster. Thank you, and please join me in welcoming NASA's Associate Administrator, Jim Free.
Thank you, Pam. Good afternoon. I try and learn every day, and I learned a long time ago, don't follow an astronaut. Now I learned don't follow your boss, and now it's don't follow the unveil of a new X-plane. So I'll stow that one away. Thanks so much for allowing us to be here, and welcome certainly to all the distinguished guests here today, and the most distinguished guests, the team that worked on the X-59 from both NASA and Lockheed Martin. NASA is committed to aeronautics innovation. Our X-plane investments show this commitment completely. It's exciting to see an X-plane in person, really is for a space guy. The X-59 is joining a long line of NASA experimental aircraft used to validate breakthroughs that change aviation forever. Even among other X-planes, the X-59 is special. Every aircraft that receives that X-plane designation has a specific purpose to test new technologies or aerodynamic concepts. These special planes push the envelope of what's possible in flight. And once they prove those concepts, they often go into museums. And that's really what makes the X-59 different. Once we evaluate its ability to produce those sonic thumps, its work will just be getting started. This plane will spend years traveling around the country to conduct community overflights. After its first test flights, the Quest mission team will expand by thousands of U.S. residents very soon. The people we're relying on to give us honest, unbiased feedback on the X-59's noise will be the key to getting the data we need for the mission to be a success. Now, my favorite part. I want to focus on the dedicated group of people whose innovative work has made the X-59 possible. Some of the brightest minds from NASA and Lockheed Martin Skunk Works make up this team. Aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, technicians, pilots, support staff, creative types, and so many more people whose hard work brought us to today. Thank you for every single moment, every single effort, and I'd like to take a moment and ask that all of you give them a round of applause. This team is the personification of perseverance. In addition to the challenge of designing, building, and integrating a brand new, one-of-a-kind X-plane, which they've met, this team overcame these obstacles during a global pandemic to bring us to the cusp of expanding our horizons into a new era of flight. This is such an exciting time in aviation, and NASA is glad to lead this historic mission through Bob Pierce and our Aeronautics Research Mission Directorate. Our innovators worked with the skilled team at Skunk Works to complete the build of this X-plane. Their work has been critical to the continued success of the mission. Entire careers, we are talking decades of people's lives, focused on supersonic research, have gotten us here today. This team is continuing to build on the legacy of aeronautical research and also advance the research with different aircraft shaping like that of the X-59. Across all its aeronautics missions, NASA researches and innovates alongside with and in collaboration with our industry partners. Those partnerships allow NASA to create new technologies, new aircraft, new airspace designs, and operations. And they will help us develop community integration solutions that will make aviation more sustainable and integrated into our communities in ways that support U.S. economic growth and benefit the public with new and innovative transportation options. My sincere thanks to the team who have brought us this commencement, to the teams who will conduct these flights, to the teams who will collect and analyze the data, and to the American public who will become part of this mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Administrator Melroy and Associate Administrator Free. For those of you that aren't an engineer, that are listening to this on live stream, or you're in this room, let me just break this down for you. I weigh 240 pounds. If I were to jump off of this stage, land in a pool 25 feet back, 7 rows of live human beings would get wet when I cannonball into the water. That is currently aviation as we know it. What the X-59 does is it is a U.S. Olympic diver that you are going to see in Paris this summer. And when you see that diver go into the water, there's barely a ripple. That's what this does when it goes 900 miles an hour across the sky. It will barely make a ripple. So I know we all want to get a closer look at this incredible aircraft, but first I'd like to acknowledge one of our public servants who works to make projects like this possible for the American people. Please help me welcome Governor's Senior Economic Advisor, Ms. Dee Dee Myers.
Thank you, Eric. And let me just say, Deputy Administrator Melroy, Associate Administrator Free, Colonel Kaspers, Greg Ulmer, John Clark, on behalf of Governor Newsom and the people of California, welcome home. It's good to have you here. And let me just say, it's especially great for me to be here as my dad worked at Lockheed, including at the Skunk Works, directing the reconnaissance programs in the 80s and 90s. So on behalf of him, who still follows all this closely, who still has Skunk logo and merch, and still considers himself part of the team, again, it's wonderful to be here. And it's also a point of deep pride and personal privilege for those of us in California, because NASA's partnership with California is so important. It's larger than the partnership with any other state, and it brings tremendous benefits to our communities. An economic impact of $15 billion a year, over 1,800 proud NASA employees, and nearly 3,400 contractors and supply chain workers for a combined direct and indirect job force of 66,000 people here in our state, and more than $742 million a year in revenue. And if you've been following our travails, budget travails this week, you know how important that is. So to NASA, we simply say, thank you for the business, thank you for your trust, and thank you for this great and ongoing partnership. As Senator Bill Nelson says, NASA gets things done. Things that inspire us, things that unite us, things that show nothing is beyond our reach. And this project certainly demonstrates that, the X-59, and we're just getting started in terms of the scientific benefits that this program will unlock. The X-59 is the first and only quiet supersonic aircraft in the world, which we've heard a lot about today, and no one should be surprised that it was conceived, engineered, and built by artisans here in California, because this is ground zero, not just in the country, but in the world for innovation and exploration. We're very proud of that here. So true to that legacy, the X-59 will push the boundaries of aerospace, advancing the future of commercial aviation. If you want to dream big and create something that's never been created or seen before, you come to the Skunk Works, you come to NASA, and you come to California. Yeah. Our NASA partnership dates back to Downey, California, and the Apollo project in 1960. So it's a long and proud relationship. And the X-59 is just the latest chapter in our innovation story that always starts with the audacious declaration, we can do that, right? We can prove supersonic flight without sonic booms. That is such an exciting beginning. And now here we are, once again, inventing the future and inspiring another generation of science lovers, science geeks, and STEM students all across the country to dream big. And we know those dreams will change the future and the face of aviation. It'll captivate, motivate, and educate communities all over the country about what's possible, including time travel, sort of, right? You'll be able to take off in New York City, fly 925 miles per hour, as Eric noted, and land 30 minutes before you take off on the New York-LA route. So it's not exactly time travel, but it's still pretty cool to think about for those of us who travel back and forth all the time. So we know that somewhere, Chuck Yeager and Kelly Johnson, two heroes in my household growing up, they're smiling at the legacy that they have created and left and the inspiration that they still give us. Because it's another incredible milestone for NASA, for the Skunk Works, for Lockheed Martin, and for our partnership here in California. So we could not be more excited, we could not be more grateful to be making history with you all again, and what could be better than that? So thank you all for being here today and having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Please join me in welcoming back to the stage John Clark for some closing remarks.
As we close out today's ceremony, I'd like to thank all of you, especially our distinguished guests, and for all of you that have attended virtually. On a personal level, this airplane represents an opportunity to take half of my week and make it more productive. I wish I had it 25 years ago. I literally spend about a day a week on an airplane, and it would be great to have something like this, and the people that will succeed, all of us, hopefully are going to have that opportunity, say 2032, 2035. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the future to drive new innovations with new commercial transport airplanes based on the technology we're creating here. The X-59's future is bright, and that's all due to the individuals on this team. And I specifically want to call out my Skunk Works team and thank you for all the hard work and dedication that you've put into this. And to the NASA team, I really genuinely appreciate the partnership. The collaboration to make this all happen is very meaningful. Thank you.
I think one of the age-old human questions, perhaps going back to the beginning of humanity, is, are we alone in the universe? And that maps directly into, why are we here?
We're going back to the dawn of the solar system. We're looking for clues as to why Earth is a habitable world, this rare jewel in outer space that has oceans, it has a protective atmosphere. We think all of those materials were brought by these carbon-rich asteroids very early in our planetary system formation. And of course, the biggest question, the one that drives my scientific investigations, is the origin of life. What is life? How did it originate? And why was the Earth the place that it occurred?
4, 3,
Launching in 2016 seemed like the highlight of my career at the moment, but it was really just the beginning of getting us to this incredible world, this small asteroid named Bennu. It's a stunning celestial object, and its shape is particularly intriguing. It literally is a droplet made out of rock, gravel, and boulder that are barely held together by their own microgravity. And it was amazing to have our spacecraft visiting this celestial neighbor for over 2 years. We believe that we're bringing back that kind of material. Literally maybe representatives of the seeds of life these asteroids delivered at the beginning of our planet that led to this amazing biosphere, biological evolution, and to us being here today to look back on that amazing history, to think about where did we come from?
Before we get into the action, though, tell me, Jim, what are you most excited about?
Lauren, it's the masterpiece of engineering we have here. Just think about this. In 50 years, we've gone from bringing things on the moon back with crews to all robotic sample return for science that's literally beyond words. It's sublime. So we can't wait to see what we're going to learn.
We cannot wait.
Yeah, good morning, Lauren and Jim. It's already been a very bright early morning for all of our team members involved in this mission. Just a little bit further north from us, about 4 hours ago in Waterton, Colorado, the team met to assess the readiness to release the SRC from the main OSIRIS-REx spacecraft.
Approximately 1 minute to release.
Stay with you as this precious sample is recovered. Happy sample return day, and congratulations to all who worked so incredibly hard on this mission.
seconds. 30 seconds. We'll be coming to wake 1 on a move, then cold open, then camera. Seconds. 10. 7 more. 6. 5. 4. 3. Stand by. Cold 2. Open. 1.
You're looking at live pictures of the sky above the Utah Test and Training Range. In less than an hour, a 4.5 billion-year-old piece of the ancient solar system will be landing here in the desert. This is live coverage of NASA's OSIRIS-REx sample return.
Very clear skies this morning as well. As we were actually driving out, I saw a shooting star, a meteor, and in just a few moments, the SRC itself will be streaking across the skies as we begin to track it. Our high-altitude plane is up in the sky, ready to take images in the infrared of our SRC, and we are here, ready to go to cover all of today's mission events. I'm going to be right here with you all throughout the process as we get closer to that entry, descent, and landing. Just a few moments ago, we heard the helicopters take off from here to head out to Wig just at the edge of the landing ellipse.
I am on the edge of the landing zone that we call the ellipse. It is a huge landing zone that is larger than the size of Rhode Island. And behind me are the helicopters that will be taking those recovery teams to the capsule once it lands. Now, these teams are prepped and ready to go. We're just waiting for that capsule to arrive.
As the SRC approaches the edge of Earth's atmosphere, we are just moments away from the world's largest ever asteroid sample return. Jim, what are you feeling right now?
I am literally tingling all over with exhilaration. This is a small step for a capsule and a giant leap for science.
It really is, and if that's one thing we can impart, that is it. This is a huge, huge milestone, a great achievement. So this is it. We are just 15 minutes away from the OSIRIS-REx sample return, a journey of 7 years and nearly 4 billion miles. The work of thousands culminates in this moment. Let's turn it over to our mission commentator, James Traley, to take us through the final moments. James, we're all yours.
Yeah, Lauren, buckle up and get ready for the ride of entry, descent, and landing. This is 13 minutes of crazy descent, punishing deceleration of our spacecraft, starting at 27,000 miles per hour when it enters into Earth's atmosphere, and eventually slowing to a leisurely 11 miles per hour as it descends and lands on the Utah Test and Training Range.
Recovery operations, helicopters 1 and 2 have arrived at the holding location.
So good news, our helicopters are ready to go and begin those recovery operations just as soon as we have confirmation of touchdown here. And as the sun begins to rise in the west coast, the SRC is going to be streaking across the atmosphere above San Francisco, California, about 82 miles in altitude. It's going to be coming in hot, over 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, almost a couple seconds after it hits that atmosphere. That's about half as warm as the surface of the sun, to give you some context. We're about 20 seconds away. You see the team at Lockheed now, all standing, ready on the edge of their seats. This team, I'll remind you, just a few hours ago, gave that command to release the SRC on this long journey. It's been on its own for 4 hours. There's nothing we can do at this point. It's coming in, rain or shine.
EO milestone. The SRC has entered the Earth's atmosphere. UTTR tracking assets have acquired.
And here we go. Start your stopwatch right now. We are 13 minutes of entry, descent, and landing. We have that expected milestone of entering into the Earth's atmosphere. We can see the team at Lockheed, and we actually have a visual now. This is from our infrared tracking camera on the WB-57, our high-altitude plane, at about 47,000 feet MSL, mean sea level, getting a great view of that SRC heating up as it enters into Earth's atmosphere. The punishing deceleration that spacecraft, that SRC, is experiencing right now, as it comes in at about 27,650 miles an hour. You can see it glowing brightly in the sky. And in just a few moments, we're going to reach peak heating and peak deceleration. That's at 32 G-forces, punishing G-force on our SRC, a phenomenal view of that streaking SRC coming in across the sky. At this point, we have entered in over San Francisco, California, and are very quickly going to be approaching the Utah test and training range just a little bit further to the east.
EO milestone. SRC is experiencing maximum heating and maximum deceleration.
So you just heard right there, we're experiencing that 5,000 degree Fahrenheit maximum heating, burning scalding hot on that heat shield that is protecting our sample within, and maximum deceleration that is at 32 G-force, punishing deceleration from Earth's atmosphere, the drag forces that are acting on that SRC. Once again, as I mentioned, that sample is safe and sound within that SRC, that sample return capsule, as it comes in, burning through Earth's atmosphere. You can see our high-altitude plane searching for that SRC. You can see it faintly on your screen there. Our next milestone, we'll be expecting that drogue parachute deployment. That'll be at about 102,300 feet altitude. And as I mentioned before, that will stabilize our descent and slow us from hypersonic to subsonic speeds as we continue to target the Utah test and training range.
Expected EO milestone. SRC commands drogue parachute deploy.
So we heard that command to deploy the drogue parachute, waiting to see that visual confirmation, but that is at 102,300 feet. And a side note, at this time, 8:44 a.m. Mountain Time, the OSIRIS Apex spacecraft is at its closest approach to Earth. That will be on to its extended mission, visiting the asteroid Apophis in the year 2029, continuing this incredible mission at another world. Our next milestone, we should be expecting main parachute deployment at around 8:49 a.m. Mountain Time. That will be at around 5,000 feet elevation. We continue to track with our high-altitude camera here.
EO milestone. We have confirmed parachute deployment.
Wow, and after an exhilarating streak across Earth's atmosphere, we have parachute deployment. You can see just a sigh of relief from the team. I can hear some applause here. There is that orange creamsicle colored parachute, just a delight, a sweet delight to see. in our sky here over the Utah Test and Training Range. And now this is like a marathon runner savoring that last lap here as we approach the finish, that landing in the Utah Test and Training Range.
SRC has touchdown.
And touchdown of the OSIRIS-REx sample return capsule. A journey of 1 billion miles to asteroid Bennu and back has come to an end, marking America's first sample return mission of its kind and opening a time capsule to our ancient solar system. And the team can now breathe an immense sigh of relief. We now have the sample return capsule, the SRC, containing pieces of the asteroid Bennu. You see the reaction there just moments ago as they got that sample back on the ground.
Yeah. Looks good, huh? Yeah.
Down, sit straight up.
Parachute right next to it. We did it.
Did it. Tilted over.
Yeah.
Beginning to install even covers.
Beautiful.
Water safety hub down. ORX on 3. 1, 2, 3.
ORX.
Congratulations to the OSIRIS-REx team. You did it. You designed it. You built it. And you carried out the first mission to collect a sample from an asteroid. And after a 2-year journey, it has touched down at the Utah desert. It brought something extraordinary, the largest asteroid sample ever received on Earth. This mission proves that NASA does big things, things that inspire us, things that unite us, things that show really nothing is beyond our reach. It wasn't mission impossible. It was the impossible became possible.
Right. Well, ORX ended just like it began. Absolutely picture perfect. I mean, I actually think I'm dreaming. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The capsule was feet from a road. It just stuck the landing. It landed and didn't move. Didn't look like it was spinning whatsoever. Very, very straightforward recovery operations. Absolutely unbelievable. So thank you to everybody. The team has done an enormous job. This is what happens when you practice, 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 and practice. Everything goes perfectly. Couldn't be more proud of this mission, the team, military colleagues out here that have been with us every step of the way, have been absolutely wonderful hosts, wonderful support. I'm gonna kind of miss this place, actually. I've kind of settled in here, and it's got a real charm once you get to know it. So, thank you, Utah, for being our landing ground. Of course, my family, Kate, Xander, Griffin, wouldn't be the same without you guys here. It's been an amazing journey. My boys have grown up with the dad is the PI of the flight program on NASA, and that's no longer true. And I'm also really excited that we handed off and passed the torch to the next generation. I believe the divert maneuver went exactly as according to plan, and OSIRIS Apex is on its way to Apophis for the next chapter of this fantastic journey. And I cried like a baby in that helicopter when they told me that parachute had been spotted. I tell you what, that was the end of a long, long day. We've been up since about 1:30 this morning with spaceflight activities and everything. I can't wait to see how they're doing over in the Avery. Hopefully they got that capsule nice and secured and on its way. There we go. It's like they're getting ready to get to that back shuttle and see what the treasure looks like inside. So the best times are ahead of us. I always feel that way. We're going to get in that canister. We're going to feel that tag sample. We're going to see those samples of Bennu, and we are going to rewrite the history of the solar system with the material that we brought back here. Thank you.
The doors are now open. We're entering into the clean room, and that SRC is about to be moved off onto our clean room fixture. This is why we do science, right? To get these kinds of samples, every piece of dust and grain inside that sample return capsule is a PhD thesis waiting to be written. It's a new discovery waiting for us about the origins of the solar system and our place in it. And the vast majority of that sample, more than 70% of that sample, is actually going to be stowed away for future analysis. We did the same exact thing with the Apollo missions when we brought back rocks from the moon. A large quantity of those rocks and dust from the moon our astronauts brought back were stowed away for future generations with the expectation that our technology will continue to improve and improve and improve, and then we'd be able to ask questions that we couldn't even begin to fathom. And now the same thing we'll be doing with the OSIRIS-REx samples that we brought back from the asteroid Bennu. A lot of these will be opened up 50 years from now with scientists who are yet to be born, asking questions we can't even begin to imagine.
Wow, don't be afraid to clap or cheer. Today is a celebration. Welcome to the much anticipated OSIRIS-REx sample reveal.
So 7 years, almost 4 billion miles of a journey throughout the solar system. Now back, the sample return capsule landed in Utah, right on the money. It was a picture-perfect mission. It's a feat of engineering. So, you ready to see the results of the mission? Take a peek.
Rocks tell you a story, right? And it's the story of Bennu and the history of the solar system that I'm most excited to unravel with the science program. And when we look at the materials, these clay minerals, these carbonates, you had a lot of water moving around in the early solar system beyond what we really expected from our meteorite investigations. You know, when we look at meteorites, we think water moving in very tiny scales, but I imagine a world right at the beginning of the solar system, right in that protoplanetary disk, where you had a lot of ice and a lot of rock and metal and carbon, and radioactivity started heating these things up, and you got massive circulation, what we call a convecting ball of mud, hundreds of miles across. And it's in that environment that I imagine these carbon atoms going through the first stages to the origin of life. And to me, that's the greatest mystery that we're facing right now, is like, how do you go from a ball of mud to something that's alive? Like, what happens when you make that transition? And the deepest desire is that we're gonna make some progress in trying to figure out, what is it? Why is it that we're here, we're alive, we're conscious in this universe? It's such a gift that I hope everybody really stops and thinks about it every once in a while, no matter what your problems are in everyday life. The fact that you're alive and that you're aware on this beautiful planet is something you should be grateful for every day. And that's really where I hope my imagination takes everybody.
You're looking at live pictures of the sky above the Utah Test and Training Range. In less than an hour, a 4.5 billion-year-old piece of the ancient solar system will be landing here in the desert. This is live coverage of NASA's OSIRIS-REx sample return.
There's been nothing like OSIRIS-REx in NASA's repertoire. I like to call it the Daredevil spacecraft.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff of OSIRIS-REx, its 7-year mission to boldly go to the asteroid Bennu and back.
Welcome and thank you for joining us live from the Army's Dugway Proving Ground in Dugway, Utah. This is special coverage of America's first asteroid sample return mission, OSIRIS-REx, as it arrives back to Earth after more than 7 years traveling in deep space. I'm Lauren Ward, and joining me is Dr. Jim Garvin, Chief Scientist at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. He's a planetary geologist by training and also probably one of the most excited people around here today.
Lauren, literally, I'm over the asteroid.
Better than over the moon, over the asteroid. Well, I'm excited to share the stage with you today. We've got a lot to discuss and a huge adventure straight ahead. And for those joining at home, Jim and I will be taking your questions live throughout the show. You can send those our way by using the hashtag AskNASA on X, YouTube, and Twitch. And if you want to follow along this final guide to the mission at home, scan the QR code on your screen and check out NASA's Eyes on the Solar System, where you can view a complete 3D simulation and follow the OSIRIS-REx sample return capsule to the ground. And during the broadcast, you'll hear directly from the mission team, so listen very closely for those operational callouts. Before we get into the action, though, tell me, Jim, what are you most excited about?
Lauren, it's the masterpiece of engineering we have here. Just think about this. In 50 years, we've gone from bringing things on the moon back with crews to all robotic sample return for science that's literally beyond words. It's sublime. So we can't wait to see what we're going to learn.
We cannot wait. So OSIRIS-REx is an acronym for Origins, Spectral Interpretation, Resource Identification, and Security Regolith Explorer. Yes, it's a mouthful, but the mission describes an audacious objective. Send a probe on a long journey to an asteroid, map it, grab a sample, then bring it back to Earth for analysis. Following launch on September 8th, 2016, the plucky probe took an extraordinary route through the solar system until it reached the asteroid Bennu. Then, after more than a year of mapping the surface in exquisite detail, OSIRIS-REx made a careful descent in October 2020 to collect a sample. 3 years later, we are here at Dugway Proving Ground in the deserts of northeast Utah, awaiting that capsule containing the sample, which experts tell us is essentially a time capsule of the ancient solar system. We've got a great team joining us this morning as we experience this thrilling conclusion of this grand adventure. Sophia Roberts is located near our landing zone, and she'll be speaking with some key players in the mission. We'll also hear from James Traley, who will be tracking mission operations and bringing us real-time updates, essentially our eyes and ears inside mission control, which sounds to me like a good place to jump into the story. James, good morning. How are we looking?
Yeah, good morning, Lauren and Jim. It's already been a very bright early morning for all of our team members involved in this mission. Just a little bit further north from us, about 4 hours ago in Waterton, Colorado, the team met to assess the readiness to release the SRC from the main OSIRIS-REx spacecraft. And I'm very happy to report that they gave the green light, they gave the go command officially to release the SRC from the OSIRIS-REx. Let's listen in on what the command sounded like. That command came after more than almost 4 billion miles of spaceflight and years of planning, plotting, and dreaming about this asteroid Bennu. The SRC has now been separated from the main OSIRIS-REx spacecraft and is coming in rain or shine today. So team members are keenly aware of the weather conditions out on the range. It's looking pretty great for today. We did have a bit of rain the other day, which softened up that landing spot just enough to make the SRC land perfectly smooth on that surface. The temperatures are going to be around the 50s, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Low winds out there, calm winds at the surface around 6 miles an hour, pretty light. Very clear skies this morning as well. As we were actually driving out, I saw a shooting star, a meteor, and in just a few moments, the SRC itself will be streaking across the skies as we begin to track it. Just a few moments ago, We heard the helicopters take off from here to head out to Wig just at the edge of the landing ellipse. Our high-altitude plane is up in the sky, ready to take images in the infrared of our SRC, and we are here ready to go to cover all of today's mission events. I'm going to be right here with you all throughout the process as we get closer to that entry, descent, and landing. But for now, back to you, Lauren and Jim.
All right, thanks, James. We'll be back to you for mission status updates throughout the morning. For now, let's give you a quick geography lesson on where we are today. We are sitting about 85 miles southwest of Salt Lake City in the heart of the Dugway Proving Ground, a historic Army facility. In less than an hour, the sample will touch down in our landing ellipse at the Utah Test and Training Range, managed by the Air Force, about 13 miles north of where we're speaking right now. Mission teams have set up a clean room just 1 mile away from us, where the sample will end its journey today. Tomorrow morning, a C-17 aircraft will take off from the runway behind us and deliver the sample to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Can't wait.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to see that C-17. Oh, that's going to be breathtaking. We have a lot of ground to cover, and we'll be bringing you into the heart of the action. For all of NASA's many missions over the years, OSIRIS-REx lives in an extremely rare category. It not only ventured out into space with cameras and sensors, but it's bringing a physical sample of the ancient solar system back to Earth for detailed analysis. Mission planners selected a small asteroid called Bennu as their destination. Following a successful touch-and-go procedure to grab a sample on October 20th, 2020, OSIRIS-REx has been making its way back to Earth. It's been a thrilling ride already packed with technical achievements and scientific discoveries. Today's historic landing continues that saga, promising exciting research ahead. Beside our main event this morning, we've got a ton of extremely cool stuff. We'll hear from a special guest astrophysicist whom you probably recognize more for his chart toppers. We'll speak with one of the helicopter pilots about his role in getting recovery teams out to the landing site and bringing the capsule back home. And we'll even hear from the cast of the film Asteroid City. And of course, we'll give you a front row seat to the mission itself, the science, the engineering, and why a mission to gather space rocks, well, rocks.
Right.
NASA's first asteroid sample return happens in less than 35 minutes. Let's now take you to Wig Mountain, where our field reporter, Sophia Roberts, is standing at the forward edge of the vast landing zone, where she joins us live now. Sophia, paint us a picture.
Lauren and Jim. Now, it is a bright and chilly morning, but the excitement certainly is rising. Now, let me give you a lay of the land of what is going to happen today. The sample return capsule is going to hit the top of the atmosphere at approximately 8:40. It will descend through our atmosphere for 13 minutes before touchdown. Once it does touch down, our team with the recovery team will go to the sample or the capsule and start that carefully rehearsed recovery process. Now, I am on the edge of the landing zone that we call the ellipse. It is a huge landing zone that is larger than the size of Rhode Island. And behind me are the helicopters that will be taking those recovery teams to the capsule once it lands. Now, these teams are prepped and ready to go. We're just waiting for that capsule to arrive. Back to you, Lauren.
Wow, Sophia, I think she has the best seat in the house.
Oh my God, take me there.
I want to go there. All right, let's get some quick facts about the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft. Filled with fuel, the vehicle weighs more than 4,600 pounds. That's about the same size as 3 large cows. Did you know that, Jim?
I did not, and I'm afraid of those cows.
Let's stay away from the cows. With its solar arrays extended, the spacecraft is about 40 feet long, or the size of a short school bus. The solar arrays can power up to 3,000 watts, which is the same as a portable generator. Once on Bennu, the 11-foot robotic arm collected dust and pebble samples, while the cameras got up-close images of the asteroid. How about that? And then, of course, there's the SRC, or the Sample Return Capsule, the capsule that separated from the main vehicle and is currently on its way to our landing zone in the Utah desert. So, Jim, I think importantly, the team can't just open up the capsule right on the desert floor, right? What happens next?
So next, we have to safe it, we have to bag it, we have to contain it, and transport it to the clean room about a mile from here. And in that clean room, we will actually bring the sample return capsule in, take off the back shell and the heat shield, and carefully arrange to nitrogen purge that special sample container inside, so it does not introduce any contamination from Earth, because we want asteroid, not Earth.
That's right. And I love missions like this because I find my own imagination just bursting with possibilities and questions. And so with about a little bit more than 30 minutes to go before the SRC hits the top of the atmosphere, we're going to take a few minutes to dive into the nuts and bolts of the mission itself. We've got a great mission overview to help explain. Take a look.